You know what I always say? People are going to do exactly what they want to do no matter what. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be answering the top 10 questions that most people ask about government contracting so that you can make sound decisions moving forward in your career as a federal concierge. So, let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's Con Connects, and I am so excited about today's episode. I will be answering the top 10 questions that I found online. Students asked me about government contracting that you might be asking yourself as well, that no one seems to be giving you answers to, but I am. Okay, so I'm going to answer these questions. Of course, if you got more questions and you want to know something that I have not touched on, go ahead and comment below. Before we start, as always, please like and share and comment and subscribe to this video so that I can bring you more content like this. Okay? All right, let's get started. So the easiest questions, I'm just going to go from the first 10 I got. I got a lot of questions here, but I'm just going to go for the first 10. The first question is, how do I find government contracts online that match my business? Now, for those of you who know me, y'all already know how I feel about finding solicitations that match your business. Why? Because we don't do what? We don't niche down. We're a concierge. So I ain't niching down to no specific type of business because I do it all. Why do I do it all? Because I don't do the work. That's why I do it all. But I'm answering the question anyway. So how do you find government contracts online that match your business? First and foremost, you do not need to match your business, but you go to SAM.gov to find the solicitations that match your business. Now, in the filters, there is this thing called NAICS codes. I think that's how you pronounce it, NAICS codes. These NAICS codes are basically codes for different types of genres of businesses, right? Landscaping, janitorial, construction, whatever. So if you you just have to do your business, right? If you're only looking for solicitations, that is what your company does. What you can do, although I do not recommend it, is put in your NAICS code. If you don't know your NAICS code, I forgot the website, but you can definitely go online, type in your category of your business, and then type in like something like NAICS code, and it'll pull up the NAICS code for your company. Then once you have that, come back to SAM.gov, go to the filters, go to the NAICS code filters, and then type in your NAICS code, select it, and then everything that has that NAICS code will pop up. But once again, I don't recommend that, because as a federal concierge, we do it all, and we don't have to niche down. Okay, but that's how you find it. Okay, if you just have to do what your business does, that's how you find it. All right, question number 2: what documents do I need to include when submitting a proposal? I get this question all the time, and this is where my overthinkers excel. Okay, not in a good way, but in a bad way. First and foremost, you only provide in your proposal documents that the government is asking for. Do I need to say that again? You only provide the documents that the government is asking for. So if they say, we want a pricing sheet, please submit a pricing sheet to us. Why are you asking me, do I need to add a past performance or a capability statement? Did the government ask you for that? No. They ask you for a pricing sheet. That's it. That's all. Stop overthinking it. Because y'all know doggone well on y'all taxes, y'all don't be putting every single tip that y'all make. Right? Y'all be hiding that from the government. But then you want to give the government everything in their mama when you submit a proposal. It's not necessary. The only thing you need to provide to the government when submitting is whatever documents they're asking for. So if they're saying, hey, please submit a pricing sheet, your SF 1449, that's what you submit. If they ask you for a capability statement or a technical statement or past performance, then you can go ahead and submit that. But only if they ask. Because I'm going to tell you this, some contract officers are so specific that if you add any additional documents that they did not ask for, they will throw your proposal out. They will throw it out. So only give the government what they're asked for. And where do you find the instructions of what the government is asking for? Anybody want to guess? In the ITO. If you don't know what ITO is, well, I was going to say look it up, but I did make up the acronym. So ITO is instructions to offer. That's where you find what the government wants you to submit in your proposal, okay? So remember, don't overthink it. Only provide the information that the government is asking you to provide. Question number 3. How do I price my proposal competitively without losing a profit? First and foremost, honey baby, you always gonna lose the profit. You always gonna lose the profit. But the good thing is you not putting no money into it. So it don't matter. No matter what happens, you are always going to win. If you win, you're always going to get a profit. So when I say you're going to lose a profit, I meant you're always going to leave money on the table. Always. Because there's always somebody cheaper that's going to do the job. But when I say you don't lose a profit, I'm saying both. When I say you're going to always get a profit, it's because you didn't put no money into it. You literally found a quote, put your proposal together, submitted it, and won an award. And now you're getting however much money. You might as well walk outside and find $20 on the ground. Like, you're not losing anything. So no matter what, you can't lose a profit that you didn't put money into. That's what I mean when I say you can't lose a profit. Okay? So, in order to price competitively, I know that was wrong. I recommend doing this. When you're searching for your quotes, right? Find at least 3 or 4 quotes so you can compare the pricing of each subcontractor. If you find 3 or 4 quotes, that should give you a pretty good idea of what that good or service is going to cost. And then you can decide which company you're going to go with. Now, of course, smart people will always go with the lowest company because then you can price your money on top. Now, of course, if company A is lower, company B is second lower, company C is third lower, company D is fourth lowest, or first lowest, you know what I mean, then you're going to go with the lowest person. And then between company A and B, since company B is the next highest, you don't want to go over company B because then you'll be pricing yourself out. And if you want to do it the win type of way, because I always say there's three type of bidders. You bid to win, bid to make money, and bid to bid, right? So if you're bidding to win, then you, of course, that margin from the first one and the second one, that's what you would play. That's how you would profit, right? But guess what? I'm going to tell y'all something, a secret. If you want to make $10,000, then make $10,000. It don't matter what you bid. If the government, if your price is low and you put $10,000 on top and the government picks you, then guess what? You making $10,000. decide what type of bidder you want to be. You can put anything on top. There is no like rhyme or reason or strategy depending on what type of bidder you want to be. Remember, I said it depends on what type of bidder you want to be. If you're bidding to win, then there's strategy. But if you're bidding to bid or bidding to make money, there is no strategy. Pick a number out the air and plop it on top. Okay? But that's how you price competitively. Find at least 3 to 4 different subcontractors, compare their prices, and then pick one of their pricing. And then you can put your money on top, making sure you don't go over the other pricing. Should I subcontract or go solo for my first contract? Well, as a federal concierge, of course, all we do is subcontract. I'm not doing no work. Now, if you are your own business and the solicitation that you're working on is what your business does, if you want to do the work, okay, that's cool. If you love the work that you do and you want to do the work, then you can go ahead and do it. But me, myself, I ain't doing the work. I'm going to find somebody else to do it. They get paid what they want. I get paid what I want. Everybody's happy. So it just really depends on what you are trying to achieve. Are you trying to be a concierge, or are you trying to just be a contractor? If you're just trying to be a contractor, you want to do the work yourself, then I recommend you go ahead and bid solo. Like, you are bidding solo on your own. You're making the decision of how much you're going to charge. And I have done that. I have had contracts where I was actually the person providing the service. But if you want to be a federal concierge and not provide the service and have contracts all over the U.S. and nationwide and worldwide, I recommend you use a subcontractor because they know the area, they got the equipment, and you don't have to worry about it. So it's really up to you. Okay, question number 5. How many proposals should I submit before I see results? Woo! Y'all, this is a loaded question. All right. Let me see how I can say this in a nice way. How many proposals can I submit before I see results? There is not really an answer to that question. The answer is in a saying that I say: submit, forget, but follow up. And what I mean by that is you need to submit proposals and then forget that you submitted it. Forget that you submitted it, because if you wait to see the results, you're going to end up not submitting as frequently as you should. So I always say forget it, but in the back of your mind, still remember that you submitted it and follow up to make sure that it wasn't awarded or that they didn't make a mistake, because y'all, they do make mistakes. I follow up all the time after solicitations that I proposals that I submitted. And guess what? 3 out of those times I was actually supposed to win and they messed up. And they had to re-award it to me. So don't forget to submit, forget, and follow up. But I would say submit as many as you can, because the more submissions you have, the more likely you are to win. If you submit every single day, you're going to eventually win one. Time frame wise, it just depends. The government has different criteria. They'll go by pricing. They'll go by technical statement. They'll go by past performance. They go by different stuff. You can never predict that the government is going to pick your quote. But if you submit so many, it don't matter, because eventually you are going to win. And guys, it only takes one contract to change your life. I always tell people this is not a get rich quick type of thing. I can't say like if you submit 30, you'll at least win one. I just say if you submit every day, you'll eventually win one, or you'll eventually win. That's what I say. Because it just really depends on the government, because the government is cheap. It really just depends on the government. So I can't really answer like when will your results happen? It can happen in the first proposal that you submit. Just like my participant in my Watch Us Submit workshop, she came, we submitted a proposal in the workshop, and she won the proposal. $24,000 she would have won. She won $24,000 on her first proposal. So it just depends. You just got to submit, though. Don't worry about the results. Worry about the results when they contact you and let you know that you've won. Just submit. If you guys need help submitting, if you're stuck in a rut and you don't know where to go, you need somebody to hold your hand, you need somebody to walk you through the process, guys, you need to go get a ticket to the Watch Us Submit Dallas workshop. In this workshop, we will be going through all the steps of submitting, live and in person. Every single step we're going to go through. I'm going to walk you through, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And guess what? At the end of the workshop, just like the last participant, you will submit an actual real live proposal that you might even win. I'm looking for my next success story. Will you be it? Tickets is in the description below. Make sure you go get your tickets. I have only 10 slots available. Go get your ticket. Come to the workshop. Finally submit that proposal that you've been saying that you're going to submit for the past 2 years. Come take action now. Tickets in the description below. I'll see you at the workshop. All right. So, next question. What makes a proposal non-responsive, and how do I avoid it? So, that's a good question. The proposal that is non-responsive is one that has not followed the instructions. You have not filled out paperwork. You have not signed documents. You have not submitted information that they've asked you for. Maybe your next code is not updated, because that happened to me one time. I would have won, but because I didn't have my next codes updated in the system, they went with somebody else. So that's why I teach all my students, no matter what you're bidding on, just go ahead and update that next code. But that is what could make a proposal non-responsive. When you just don't follow the instructions, you don't provide the information, you submit it late, you don't provide the documentation that they're asking for. That's what makes a proposal non-responsive. So don't do that. That's why reading the documents that they have attached, the instructions to offer, is very important. You don't want to miss out on anything, okay? So take your time. Some of y'all don't even like to read, which I don't understand. Take your time, go through the instructions, and submit what they're asking, so that you don't have to deal with a non-responsive proposal. Okay? Question number 7. How do I request a government debrief after losing a bid? This is a really good question, because half of you guys don't even realize you can request a debriefing. Now, what is a debriefing in ConConnect? Well, a debriefing is basically a meeting that you have with the contract officer where they kind of, not in detail, but break down why your proposal was not selected. So whether the pricing was too high, you didn't have enough past performance, or the technical wasn't good enough. They will break that down. Now, I highly recommend that after every contract loss, you ask for a debriefing, just so you know how to fix the next proposal. You can request a debriefing. All you do is contact the contract officer, and you can request, when they let you know you did not win, thank you for the information. I kindly request a debriefing so that I can understand what I did wrong, or whatever you want to say. I highly, highly, highly recommend a debriefing after each contract loss. But you don't have to do it. But this just makes you better. Okay, that's an excellent question. So that's how you request a debriefing. You just ask the contract officer, to give you a debriefing, and usually they do. I've never had a situation where they have not. All right, y'all, we got 3 more questions. Now, remember, if you're just joining me, you can always write your question in the comments, and I might use that in a different video, right? So don't be afraid to make a comment, and make sure you guys are subscribing to this channel so that I can bring you more content like this. Question number 8. Do I need any certifications to win a contract? No! No, you do not need any certifications to win a contract. One certification here that was given to me, I did not apply for it, because most of these HubZone, 8A, WOSB, you have to apply for. I did not apply for the total small business. If you make a certain amount of money, you are automatically deemed total small business. That's the only certification that I have. And guys, I have over 20 contracts since I started 2 years ago. So no, you do not need certifications. If anybody tells you different, send them to me. Please send them to me. Or go look up my company and go see how many contracts I've won and what certification that I'm under. It's only going to say one, total small business. And it's going to be about 20 contracts in there, I think. So, yeah. You do not need a certification to win a contract. Question number 9. What is an IDIQ contract and how do I qualify for one? Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I used to get confused with IDIQ. Okay? IDIQ stands for indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. Now, I used to get confused, like, what does this mean? I don't understand what it means. I'm going to explain it to you. So, IDIQ basically is when a contract does not have an end date and does not have a amount that they need service. So, for example, let me think of one. So, for example, let's say water bottles. Okay? An IDIQ pricing sheet would look something like pricing 1, quantity 1, price, and then whatever the price is. So basically what it's saying is, how much do you charge for 1 bottle of water, right? We know the government is not just going to have shipped 1 bottle of water. They want to know how much it's going to cost for this product or service. How much does it cost for 1 bottle of water? How much does it cost for routine maintenance, right? Just in the in the description, it'll just have that item, right? Item. And it'll usually have 1. And you just write the price. That's kind of how you know it's a IDIQ. If they don't have like a certain amount, they don't have base year or anything like that, it's a certain amount, kind of know it's an IDIQ. Okay? IDIQ. So 1, right? And they don't have how long for a month, for the whatever, for the year, for 2 years. They don't have none of that. It's just, how much does this cost? Period. That's it. That is usually what an IDIQ is. Now, for those of you who can give the perfect definition, you can go ahead and write it in the comments. But that's trying to give you the idea. So IDIQ is basically, okay, I got another example, right? It's not an IDIQ, but I feel like it should be. So I have a courier contract. In my courier contract, I have unscheduled deliveries and scheduled deliveries. The unscheduled delivery, I feel, should be an IDIQ because twice already we've had to ask for more unscheduled deliveries. If they made it an IDIQ, all they would have asked us was, how much do you charge for an unscheduled delivery? and we would say $300, whatever. And then that would be it. So anytime they needed unscheduled delivery, they can just call for one. If they want to call for 300 unscheduled deliveries, all they're going by is what we charge for one. And then we'll multiply that 300 times. It's not like that in my contract. I wish it was, because this is the second time we've had to request for more deliveries, but whatever. But that is what an IDIQ is. Okay, once again, for those scholars in the comments who want to comment below the actual definition of IDIQ, you can go ahead and do that. But that's basically how it works. Okay, so how do you apply for one? You don't really apply for one. It just depends on what the government wants, right? If they need an IDIQ, then you'll be able to know that it's an IDIQ in the pricing sheet, because you'll be looking for, it'll just have one item and you'll just put the pricing and that'll be it. Okay, but you can't apply for it. You can look for them in a solicitation. You can look for them, and it'll usually be products, I think, maybe, I'm not sure what it'll usually be, but you can look for it. But you can't apply to it. It's not like you can be like, only send me the IDIQs. Like, there's not a list to put your name on. Okay. And finally, guys, question number 10. What is a cost plus versus a fixed price contracting? All right. So how I understand this question is not the vocabulary word cost plus is not the word that I use, but it's fixed firm pricing is the word that I use. But what is the difference between the two? Okay, so let me explain. So fixed firm pricing in a contract means, and I've had both types of contracts. So fixed firm pricing is basically, it don't matter how many hours, how many times, how much work is done, the price will always stay the same. For example, my horse trainer contract is a fixed firm. So no matter how many hours they work, no matter whether they, are on or off or whatever, no matter what happens, they pay me that price every month. All I got to do is work at least 1 hour. So my horse trainer works 30, 40, 50, 60 hours, whatever, right? If she was sick or if something happened and she only was to work 2 hours for that month, I'm still billing the full cost as if she worked 30 hours. That's fixed firm. The price is the price no matter what. I learned that early on in this contract. My first year, I learned that early on. So fixed firm pricing, we like. But there is a downside to fixed firm pricing, because say you're working with a subcontractor, fixed firm pricing, right? Great. But then the subcontractor is like, oh, shoot, we got to go up. Price is going up. We got to go up. Guess what the government's going to say? The price is the price. Fixed firm pricing, we can't go up. So that's a downside to it. But usually, it's the upside. Now, as they call it, cost plus. I don't have a word for it, but basically, that is when the amount of money that you're charging is based on the services performed. So, for example, right, it was not a fixed firm price, which I wish it was, but I had aerobics instructors in LA. Okay, I had to charge the government based on how many hours they worked. Now, although they were supposed to work 30 hours a week, right? It's not fixed firm, so I can't bill 30 hours a week. I have to bill how many hours they actually work. So if my 5 instructors only work 7 hours or, 10 hours for the month, I have to bill at 10 hours, which means my pay is going to fluctuate up and down. That's the difference between the two. And know this because the contracts that you guys win will either be fixed firm or, as they call it, cost plus. I'm not exactly sure what the word is for that. I don't think that's the word. I feel like it's something else, but I can't think of it. I'll put it in the comments and pin it to the top when I figure out the word. But that is the difference, okay? You want a fixed firm. But then again, you can't change it if you need to. But then again, you can end up getting more money if all the services aren't rendered because it's fixed. So that's pretty cool. So, but guys, that's it. That's the top 10 questions that that's the top 10 questions that has been asked to me. I hope those questions have been beneficial to you and maybe have answered some of the questions that you have. If you have any other questions that you want to ask, feel free to comment below, ask your questions, and I might even make it a topic in one of my episodes. If you haven't seen the other episodes, go back to my channel, go watch all the episodes of Let's Talk About It, where we talk all things government contracting. So I would really appreciate that. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because guys, I'm telling you, I got something coming up. If you are not subscribed, you are not going to benefit from it. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this, because I'm about to do something crazy. Crazy, baby. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Once again, guys, if you're ready to submit your first proposal, go ahead to the link in the description. Go buy your tickets. Payment plans are available. Seating is limited, so don't wait. Do not wait until you feel you're ready. You are ready. All you need is my guidance. So go to the link below. Go ahead and get your tickets, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more tutorials.